Hey golfers, it's Dave from Fit2U Golf. It's driver release season. We've got the Sim and the Maverick and the Speed Zone, and now Golfworks has thrown their hat in the ring with the Maltby KE4 Tour TC driver. I'm going to be reviewing it today. Let's get started. So this driver rounds out the family of Tour TC clubs, the hybrids and the fairway woods, and you can see by the crown it's a very similar look. It has that kind of raised leading edge that has a kind of a gunmetal finish to it. The rest of the crown is a matte black, and we have the addition of speed fins. Now, these are strategically placed little bumps in the ridge. We've seen this in other drivers from another OEM, and they're meant to stabilize the club during the swing aerodynamically. Now, I don't know if they work. I mean, Mark Crossfield did a video where he glued Star Wars figures onto his driver and it didn't affect his club data. Nonetheless, I understand why they're there, and they make the driver look really modern and really aggressive. I mean, this driver, just looking down at address, just says, swing me fast. The sole of the club is also similar to the other Tour TC clubs, and it has the white accents. Now, I complained about this on the other clubs, particularly the hybrids. It didn't quite look good on that smaller head. But when there's more real estate on the sole of a driver, it really stands out. It really pops. One of the accents advertises that it has speed fin technology built in. The sole also features a removable weight. It comes standard with an 8-gram weight. This allows for maybe some trajectory changes, but mostly for adjusting the head weight and the swing weight. The overall shape of the driver is kind of a traditional pear shape, maybe a little bit of elongation in the back, and I would say that the face height is kind of medium. Now, given that this is a tour driver, it does sit 1 degree open at address in the neutral setting. Another feature is that it's a slightly smaller footprint. It's 450 cc's. So this is an adjustable driver. It allows you to move the loft up or down 1 degree from the standard at 10, the lie angle up or down 1 degree, and the face open or back to square. Without the adapter, the head weighs 192 grams. With the adapter, mine came in at 201 grams, which is just 1 gram off of spec. Now, I tested this with 2 different shafts. I bought the club pack, so I got the Maltby MPF Driver Series shaft. I got it in regular flex because I know these shafts do tend to run a little bit stiff, and that was the case here. I frequencied this at 255 CPMs at 45 inches, and that puts it just into the stiff range. When I installed that shaft with the club head with the standard 8-gram weight in the sole, it swing weighted a little bit light. It swing weighted at C9. Now, some people may like that. They might be able to swing that faster. I prefer a little bit heavier head, and so you'll see that I made some adjustments later on when I go into the performance. The other shaft that I used to review this was the Acra FX 265. This is a 67-gram stiff flex shaft. Has a little bit different bend profile than the MPF. At the range, I tried the MPF shaft first. I'll let the video play so you can hear it a little bit here. Has a really nice sound. Solid, a little high-pitched, but not offensive, not tingy. Now, I was getting decent numbers with this shaft. I was getting mid-130s ball speed swinging at around 97 miles an hour, but I was having trouble finding the sweet spot. So I messed around with some different adjustments to the hosel, added some different levels of weights, and the formula that I came up with that worked really well for me was the Acra shaft with a 12-gram weight in the sole and the hosel setting to 9 degrees, so 1 degree lower in loft. And then it really came alive. I felt like I could really swing. I was having a much easier time finding the sweet spot, and I was getting really good numbers. So in terms of performance, I was getting an average ball speed of 139, swinging at 98 miles an hour, smash factor of 1.42, getting carry of 220, launching at 14 degrees, spinning at 2,700, and a peak height of 84 feet. Now, that was the average I was getting. I had many shots that were quite good, so for example, one of the best shots I had was a ball speed of 142, swinging it just a little bit slower, 97 miles an hour, a little bit better smash factor, 1.47, getting a carry of 230 at a similar launch and slightly lower spin. All right, so the pros of this club. There are many. The performance is obviously a pro. I've said in other videos, if I get mid 130s with a driver with my swing, which is, usually a little south of 100 miles an hour and tends to be kind of a level angle of attack, if I get mid 130s, that's good. If I get high 130s in ball speed, that's very good. And if I get 140 or better, that's great. And this was great for me. So the performance is terrific. The sound is really nice. It's really solid. And when you hit the sweet spot, it makes a louder sound and a kind of deeper sound. And I like that feedback. It helped me to find the sweet spot when experimenting with it. Incidentally, speaking of the sweet spot, you can see by the picture I'll put up of where I found it to be, or pretty close in this picture. Like a lot of drivers, it's a little bit high on the face, a little bit higher than center, and a little bit out towards the toe. As I mentioned in the intro, I think this is the nicest driver that Golfworks has ever come out with, and I think that's a huge pro. This looks great at address. It looks great sitting in the bag. It's very modern. It looks fast. It looks stealthy. I really like the look of the driver. I'm going to say that forgiveness is a pro. I want to just kind of add a caveat to that given that this is a tour driver, that this is meant for a certain type of player, it's not meant for hugely forgiving, but it's got a high MOI, and I found really little loss of distance on off-center hits, particularly hitting low in the club, which is where I tend to miss it. While it did increase the spin, I didn't lose a whole lot of distance, and it also felt really solid hitting it there. So it's not a bad miss for me, and I think that's one of the reasons why this driver is going to work well for me. And the final con I'll throw in there is the price. The head is around $150. I think I paid around $170 for the club pack, which came with a shaft, a grip, and a head cover. Obviously, the adapter and the wrench come included with the head. But I think that that's a terrific value for a very modern driver, a great performer, and with the adjustability that it has. Now I've got two minor cons to talk about. They both relate to the hosel. I'm going to say that the hosel is somewhat intuitive. It has 8 settings. 4 of them are clearly labeled: H for high, L for low loft, N for neutral, and then U for neutral upright. The others you have to kind of learn what they are, because they're just designated with dashes. You spend a little time with the driver and you get it, but it's not as intuitive as some other adjustable hosels. The other potential con of the hosel is a limited adjustability. I work with other drivers that have adjustments of 1.5 degrees up or down in loft, or sometimes even 2 up or down, and this just goes 1. Now I think that's going to cover a lot of golfers. It starts at 10, goes to 11, down to 9. I think that's probably where it's going to fit, probably 80% of your golfers. But it is a little bit limited in that way. Also, it's limited in terms of not being able to close the face with the hosel adjustment. Now, I'm going to say that isn't really a con of this driver. As I said before, it's a tour driver. It's intended for a player who wants to not overdraw the ball, wants to fade it reliably, isn't primarily worried about forgiveness, and so they're probably not going to be looking to shut the face. Now, I think this has wide appeal. I think anywhere from mid-handicap, kind of the higher range of mid-handicap, down to low handicap, is going to like this driver. But if you're a high handicapper fighting a slice, this may not be the driver to look into. Now, those cons are so minor that obviously the pros win out here, and it should be no surprise that this is going to get an Eagle rating from me, my highest rating. This is a terrific driver, great performer, great looking, great value. This is going in my bag to start the season whenever that ends up happening here in the Northeast. So post your comments below. Let me know what you think. As more products are released, I'll be doing some more reviews. In the meantime, subscribe, watch the other videos, and get out there, play some golf, and stay positive.